you. Welcome to or welcome back to Keisha's House, Motivation and Inspiration. I'm Keisha, and as always, I am so very glad that you stopped by. So if you're listening to me on the podcast, thank you so very much for listening. As always, I truly appreciate it. But if you're watching the video podcast or if you're watching this on YouTube, you can see that I'm not even in a house. So over the last couple of weeks, if you've been tuning in, you know that myself and my family are transitioning for a work move. And it's been a long move. So today I'm not even in a house. I'm actually in one of my cars. But I have great news. We are so very close to getting the keys to our new home. In fact, I'm in a hotel right in the community of where we're going to be living. So we are ready to say this move is done. But like I said, we have a little bit more to go. So thank you so much for tuning in. Today is Monday, April 3rd, my favorite month of the year because it's my birthday month. And I know we just got past April Fools, April 1st. Did you get tricked this past April Fools? So my husband thought it would be so very funny to tell me that he got an email about our home and that our move-in date has been pushed back a week. I was not laughing and I did not fall for that trick. So I made it through another year unscathed, but he keeps coming for me every year. He's gotten me really good in the past, so I will be prepared next year. So let me know, comment below if you got tricked this past April Fools. So with that being said, let's dive into last week. Last week's quote, which I really enjoyed, and trust me, I was holding on to it all week long, being so close to getting the details for this move. It's as follows. Our potential is one thing, but what we do with it is another. Our potential is one thing, but what we do with it is another, by Angela Duckworth. As you know, I am reading through the book Grit. And what I loved about that quote, it's saying that, listen, we all start off in life with different cards. If you are a poker player, you know. We have to play the cards that we are dealt, but that does not mean we cannot come out victorious with whatever cards are in our hand. And it also means, listen, we all start off with different amounts of chips, but that doesn't mean at the end of the game, you don't have the most chips on that table. So what I love about this quote is the fact that it's saying, regardless of where you started, it doesn't matter, because you can still succeed. It's what we do with what we have. We can get those cards, or we can get those chips and get to the table and say, you know, everybody has a lot more than us, we can get intimidated. Or we can get the cards and we can just say, you know what, I'm not even gonna play this hand, because we just give up before we even start. Or we can have that grit, we can find that energy, that hustle, and just push through and say, this is what I gotta deal with, this is what I have to work with, but I'm gonna do something with it. And I think that's where a lot of our competition in life, they fall off, because they see how hard things are and they say, no, I'm not even willing to try, because if I fail, I'm too scared that my failure is going to be embarrassing, or I'm gonna fall too hard. What does it say? I think it's a Chinese proverb, you know, fall 7 times, get up 8. You just keep getting up. Every single fail is just an opportunity to say, you know what, that didn't work that way. Now we know that answer doesn't work, so it helps us to narrow down what will. So believe me, I was leaning into this quote this week, being so close. It's almost been 2 solid months of this transition. In fact, it has been more than that since my family has been displaced, but we are making the most of it. And I also learned over this journey, over the last couple of months, is that perfection is not the goal. The goal is to just do our very best. This is not ideal. This background changing, being in my car, recording this Monday motivation is not what I envisioned. But it's what's happening. And I'm making the most of it, because our potential is one thing, but what we do with it is another. And that jumps right into this week's quote. It's your present circumstances don't determine where you can go. Your present circumstances, they don't determine where you can go. They merely determine where you start. So my very first job was at Wendy's. So I have a soft spot for Wendy's. So when we are traveling, that tends to be my go-to stop for the family. I know the menu well, but I used to work there, so I am loyal to the core, okay? So we will go to Wendy's, and this was my very first job. And again, I mean, let's be real. When you fill out a job application and you have zero work experience, you're just thankful that somebody is taking a chance on you. Okay? They're taking a chance on you. This is also where I learned to count money. They put me and a good friend of mine on that drive-through, and you know, it was not all automated like it is today, where you have to like type in the amount and it tells you how much it is, and then you just count up the no. They'll say you owe $17.50. These people are giving me a $20 bill. You drop the bill down and you start counting. You start at the pennies, you just work your way up until you hit $20, and that is their change. Okay, you gotta learn fast and furious. There's no technology to help you with the math, right? So, needless to say, I started at Wendy's, and it's so funny to me. And actually, I shouldn't even say it's funny. I feel so blessed. Every time I walk into a Wendy's or I go through the drive-thru and I see a young person at that drive-thru, or even somebody who's older. I mean, times are not what they used to be, okay? We all need money to buy eggs, all right? It's crazy. These prices are nuts. We're all in it. But when I go through that drive-thru and I get there, I just feel this overwhelming just blessing. That girl that was cashing folks out at that drive-thru, that girl that was pushing against the norm and saying, I want to work the grill, because guys only work the grill. I said, no, that's not right. I want to. They put me on that grill. I was the first girl at that Wendy's to work that grill, or to be cooking fries. I mean, getting up early, going to Wendy's before they open, and making all the salads before everyone got there. That young girl doing that work at 16 years old. I mean, I had no clue what my future had in store for me. I had dreams, but I was way off. I realized that my dreams, I limited myself. I mean, they were goals, yes, but what I've achieved has far surpassed what I ever expected for myself. And I think the beauty about it is that everyone around you at times, not everybody, we got to be careful about who we let in our corner, not everybody, but people around us, they can see something in us that we don't yet see. And that's what I love about it. It just humbles me, and it reminds me that that young girl who is just thankful to be able to pay her cell phone bill is where I am today, in a career that I absolutely love. But I've also recognized that in this career that I love, it doesn't define me. That I can lean into my God-given talents and abilities to do things also that I love outside of my job. Outside of the norm of saying, this is your cookie cutter, you gotta go to this 9 to 5. I love being here, talking to you, being motivated, being inspiring, I hope, and just sharing some positivity. It's something I genuinely love to my core. There is enough negativity in this world, and I am thankful to not be adding and fueling to that fire. So this week's quote starts off by saying, your present circumstances don't determine where you can go. But this is what I think is really important. Words matter. It says where you can go, because to me that says it's a choice. You can either lean into your abilities, you can either lean into your talents, or you can listen to the naysayers, because they're going to be there. Those haters are going to be there that are going to dampen your dreams. It's a choice. You know, a really great mentor of mine, I love saying mentor because this person to me is no longer a boss. This person to me is a mentor. And one thing he would always say is that you got to get up and do that and make the donuts. And it's so funny, when I first heard it, I was like, what are we talking about? Like, I had to Google this commercial that was years ago. It was a Dunkin' Donuts commercial. But what I've learned from him is that sometimes you're just gonna have to get up earlier before everybody else, and you're just gonna have to put in that work and that time and that energy and that grind. But if you do, at some point, those around you can't even keep up, because you're putting in that time and that effort. But the reality is, it's something that you have to make a choice to do. Because the things that I've succeeded at, I've made the choice to put in my energy and my effort so I can succeed and get better and stronger at it. And the same thing applies for everything that we have to do in life. And I said have to do. No. Again, it's a choice. Some things that we want to do in life. I am not this massive YouTuber. I am not the star-studded podcaster. And honestly, sitting in your car and speaking to a camera is not easy. It may look easy, but you can definitely feel silly. But every single time that I am here with you, putting in this time and in spending this time that I genuinely enjoy, I get stronger and stronger, and I hope better and better. But everything we do is a choice, but it means that we have an opportunity to excel and to do great. And it goes on and says, they're merely determined where you start. I started in the workforce at Wendy's, but that isn't where I ended up, and where I'm gonna stay. You know, where I am today in my 9-to-5 career, it doesn't mean that's going to be the end or where I'm going to stay for the next 20 years. It means that this is just a starting point. It's a starting point. And we have to make choices along the way so we can get to where we want to go. But remember, it's something that we can do. We don't have to do it. But we need, if we want to get where we want, to put in that effort and that energy. So the whole thing is, your present circumstances don't determine where you can go. They merely determine where you start. This is where I'm starting. And also what I love about where we start, if you're following me on Instagram, you could see the change going on in the feed. And I'm reading and learning and watching videos. And one thing I've learned is that I can go in and delete all the old. But I don't want to. Because I want people to visually see the evolution. This is where I started, and this is where I'm going. Same thing with fitness journeys. People can see where we start, and then they can see where we're going and where we're at. With our careers, people can say, hey, you started at Wendy's, and this is where you're at. This is where you're going. You started off this young girl trying to figure out how to count money, to doing whatever my end is going to be in my 9-to-5 career. I always say that I'm working on plan B and plan C, because when I retire, trust me, I'll still be doing something. I'm still going to be working. It's just who I am. It's my nature. So what does that mean for you? Where have you started? What is it that you want to start, but you're too scared to? It's your starting point. You know where you want to end. The reality is, you got to figure out everything in between. Because where you start is the beginning of the race. Where do you want that race to end? That's going to be the challenge for this week. And trust me, I am so excited to be moving. This is the start, and we're going to get to that finish line. But what is it that you are holding on to that you're scared? Fear. Fear gets in the way of our dreams and our success. Let's not let that happen this week. Remember, your present circumstances, they do not determine where you can go. Don't worry about how much money you have. Don't worry about what resources you have. Don't worry about what your environment looks like. Go after it and get it done. That is the goal for this week. As I always say, it's easier said than done, but I believe in you. So I look forward to seeing you next week. Press in, lean into your goals, and get it done this week. Don't worry about where you're starting. Just start. Remember, you deserve to upgrade yourself, your life, and your future so you can truly begin living the life you want to live. Till next time, see you soon.